Picture this for a second. You're walking through a garden late at night, but instead of darkness, the plants themselves, they're glowing, lighting up the path with all sorts of
Like
colors.
something out of Avatar almost.
Exactly. Or maybe city streets, bathed in this soft glow from living trees instead of harsh lamps. Sounds like science fiction, yeah.
It always has, hasn't it?
Yeah, but maybe not for much longer.
Well, that's what we're diving into today. This vision, it's actually getting closer. We're talking about a real breakthrough. Multicolored, glow-in-the-dark succulents, and get this, they recharge in sunlight.
It's pretty incredible stuff.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're digging into the science, the really mind-bending implications of these bioluminescent plants. We'll look at the latest work from China, from MIT, and figure out what it means for, well, maybe sustainable lighting in the future.
A future lit by plants. It's a fascinating concept. It really is. And hey, if this glimpse into tomorrow gets you as excited as us, do us a favor like this deep dive. Subscribe so you don't miss out on more insights like this. Check out any affiliate links we might have for related cool tech, too.
And definitely drop your thoughts in the comments. What else should we explore? We love hearing your ideas.
We really do. Okay, let's get into it. Let's unpack these glowing succulents. So the big news kicking this off is from researchers at South China Agricultural University. They've created what they're calling the world's first multicolored glow-in-the-dark succulents.
Not just one color, right? That's the key.
Yeah.
Blue, green, red, even blue-violet. A whole palette.
It sounds amazing, like a living light display. But it's not just about the colors, is it? It's the brightness and how long it lasts.
Exactly. That's where this really moves beyond just a cool novelty.
Yeah, apparently these aren't just faint little flickers. The glow can stick around for up to 2 hours after they've been charged up.
And at their peak brightness, they're comparable to a small nightlight, enough to actually see by.
They even made a living wall, 56 of these glowing succulents, and it lit up the area enough for people to see things nearby, even read text. That's pretty practical.
It is. It moves it from the lab curiosity stage towards something potentially useful.
Now, for people who remember earlier tries at glowing plants, which were often, super dim, what was the big scientific jump here? How did they get this level of brightness and make it last?
Right, that's the million-dollar question. And the really clever part is how they did it without complex genetic engineering. You hear bioluminescence, you often think genes, right? Fireflies, jellyfish.
Totally. CRISPRing some glow into a plant.
Exactly. But this team, led by Shooting Liu, took a different approach. It's more material science. They use something called afterglow phosphor particles.
Phosphor particles, like in glow-in-the-dark stars you stick on the ceiling.
Precisely like that, yeah. Fundamentally the same principle. These tiny particles absorb light, energy, sunlight, LED light, whatever's available, and then they slowly release it back out as visible light. They act like tiny rechargeable light batteries.
Okay, so they're putting these little light batteries into the plants. How does that work without, messing up the plant? And how do they get them spread out so evenly for that nice glow?
That was the core challenge. It wasn't the phosphor itself that was new, but figuring out how to get it integrated effectively. The absolute key was particle size.
Size matters, huh?
In this case, absolutely.
Yeah.
Particles had to be small enough to sort of seep through the plant's tissues, right, without clogging things up or harming the plant. But, and this is crucial, they also had to be large enough to store and emit a good amount of light to be properly visible and last a while.
So a balancing act.
A real balancing act.
Mm-hmm.
Previous attempts often used things like the firefly enzyme, luciferase, maybe delivered via nanoparticles. But getting that whole biochemical reaction to work efficiently inside a plant, it's tricky, often led to really faint, short-lived glows.
Right.
This team kind of sidestepped that whole biochemical complexity. They found this Goldilocks size for their phosphor particles, about 6 to 8 micrometers across.
How big is that in real terms?
Think about the width of a human red blood cell, roughly that size. Big enough to hold energy and glow brightly, but small enough, crucially, for the right kind of plant structure.
And that's where the succulents came in. I might have guessed something leafy and airy would be better.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? But counterintuitively, succulents like Echeveria mebina were perfect. Their specific cell structure has relatively large gaps between the cells. Not in the cells, but between them.
So the particles could travel through those intercellular spaces.
Exactly, like flowing through tiny channels. It allowed the micron-sized particles to spread out really evenly across the leaf, giving that strong, uniform glow. They tried other plants, bok choy, pothos. Didn't work nearly as well. Their structure was too dense, basically. The particles couldn't move freely.
Fascinating. The plant itself was the key delivery system. And they say it's cheap, too. Like, really cheap.
Yeah, the reported cost is about $1.30 per plant to prepare, minus labor, which sounds amazing. Takes about 10 minutes per plant in the lab.
Okay, but scaling that up, treating millions of plants for, say, city lighting. The
Yeah.
labor cost would be trivial then, right? And how long does one treatment last? Does it need redoing?
Those are the key questions for practicality, definitely. The $1.40 is likely just the materials for one lab prep. Scaling involves automation, labor, logistics, and we still need more data on long-term stability, especially outdoors with weather, UV exposure, and how often reapplication might be needed. The science is a breakthrough, but the engineering for mass adoption is the next big step.
Right. Still, very cool. But this isn't happening in a vacuum. This whole idea of plant-based lighting. MIT's been working on this for a while, too, haven't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Professor Michael Strano's group at MIT has been pioneers in this field with their light-emitting plant, or LEP project. Their motivation is stark. Lighting uses almost 20% of global electricity.
Wow, 20%. That's huge.
It is. And it contributes about 2 gigatons of CO2 emissions every year. So the MIT team sees plants as this incredible potential solution. Living lights that generate their own energy via photosynthesis, store it, have a negative carbon footprint, and can even self-repair.
A completely different paradigm for lighting.
Totally. Their approach is called plant nanobionics. Again, it's about using nanotechnology to give plants new functions without genetic modification, merging tech with biology at the nanoscale.
So how did their early work compare?
Their first big splash was in 2017. They used nanoparticles carrying firefly luciferase and luciferin, that enzyme combo we mentioned, and injected them into watercress.
Ah, the biochemical route.
Right. And it worked. They got a dim light for a few hours. A proof of concept, but like we discussed, boosting the brightness and duration of that chemical reaction in a plant was the challenge.
Okay, so then they pivoted or evolved their approach. I read something about a light capacitor concept.
Exactly. By 2021, they developed something much more advanced, moving towards that phosphor idea, but with a twist. They called it a light capacitor.
Capacitor like in electronics, storing charge.
Sort of analogous, yeah. They used specific phosphor nanoparticles, strontium aluminate, but coated them in silica. This coating was crucial for protecting the plant from the particles, and vice versa, improving biocompatibility.
And these act like better batteries than the simple phosphors.
In a way, yes. They're engineered to be much more efficient at absorbing light, quickly charging up, holding onto that energy, and then releasing it more gradually and brightly. It's like a tuned-up version of the glow-in-the-dark effect, optimized for storage and release within the plant system.
More sophisticated materials.
Definitely. And the results were impressive. They reported a 10-fold increase in brightness compared to their first-gen luciferase plants.
10 times brighter.
Yep. Charge it for just 10 seconds with an LED, and they'd glow brightly for several minutes and visibly for about an hour total. And crucially, they could be recharged again and again for at least 2 weeks.
2 weeks? That's getting much more practical.
It really is. Shows the treatment itself can be quite stable within the plant.
And unlike the Chinese team focusing on succulents, the MIT method worked on lots of different plants.
It did. Basil, watercress, tobacco, even huge Thailand elephant ear plants with leaves over a foot wide. That really opens the door to thinking about larger-scale applications, like actual outdoor illumination using larger plants or trees.
So why the difference? Why did MIT's method work broadly while the others seemed specific to succulents?
It likely comes down to the delivery mechanism and particle type. The Chinese method seems to rely on those larger, micron-sized particles passively finding their way through the existing large intercellular gaps in succulents.
A natural pathway.
Right. MIT's nanobionics uses much smaller nanoparticles, often encapsulated or surface modified. This potentially allows for more targeted delivery or different ways of interacting with plant cells across a wider range of species, possibly relying less on specific pre-existing anatomical features like those large gaps. It's more of an engineered interaction at the nano level.
Got it. 2 different, really smart approaches tackling the same problem.
Both pushing the boundaries in fascinating ways.
Okay, so we have these amazing glowing succulents. We have MIT's nanobionic light capacitors. It sounds like the future is bright, literally, but what are the hurdles still? It can't be perfect yet.
No, definitely not plug-and-play streetlights tomorrow. A key limitation, especially noticeable with the phosphor approach, is that the glow does fade over time, just like those glow-in-the-dark toys. It needs recharging.
Right. It's not continuous unless there's constant light input.
Exactly. And while the MIT work shows good rechargeability over weeks, the absolute long-term effects of these nanoparticles or microparticles inside the plants still need more study. Are they completely inert? Do they accumulate? What happens when the plant tissue eventually dies and decomposes?
Important safety and environmental questions.
Crucial ones. Plus, everyone wants the glow to last longer and be even brighter for practical applications. So extending the duration is a major research focus.
What's next then? Are they trying to combine approaches?
That's one exciting direction. The MIT team has explicitly talked about combining their efficient light capacitor phosphor particles with the luciferase enzyme system. The idea is maybe you could get both immediate brightness from the enzyme and sustained rechargeable light from the phosphors.
The best of both worlds.
Potentially.
Mm.
And the Chinese team is working on applying their simpler method to plants beyond succulents, trying to broaden its applicability.
So lots of active research. But as this gets better, more powerful, does it raise any, ethical flags? We're essentially turning plants into devices.
That's a conversation we definitely need to have and keep having. On one hand, you have this incredible potential for sustainable carbon-negative lighting, reducing energy use, reducing emissions, huge benefits.
Yeah, the environmental argument is strong.
Very strong. But on the other hand, we are modifying living organisms, introducing synthetic materials into ecosystems. Even without genetic modification, it's a significant intervention. We need to think carefully about unintended consequences, containment, and our relationship with the natural world as we integrate technology more deeply into it.
Finding that balance between innovation for sustainability and respecting natural systems.
Precisely. It's not an easy line to draw, and it will shift as the technology develops.
Okay, so wrapping this up, what's the big picture here? What should we take away from all this?
I think it's a stunning example of convergence. You have material science, these carefully designed micro and nanoparticles meeting plant biology in a really elegant way. It shows how we can potentially augment natural systems with synthetic components to create entirely new, useful functions.
Human-made materials working with the plant's own structure.
Almost symbiotically in a way.
Yeah.
And the result is this potential pathway to low-carbon lighting that's self-powering, potentially self-repairing. It's a fundamental rethink.
So we've seen these rainbow succulents from China using the plant's own structure for particle delivery. We've seen MIT's nanobionics engineering light capacitors for broader use. Both are pushing towards sustainable, energy-saving light.
Living lamps that could cut electricity use and emissions. It's a beautiful vision.
The journey is definitely not over. Longevity, safety, getting it to work robustly in all sorts of plants and conditions, lots more research needed. But this deep dive really paints a picture of a future where maybe our gardens, homes, even streets are lit by the gentle glow of plants.
A greener, and maybe literally greener, future.
Exactly. Okay, here's something to chew on as we finish. If plants can become these self-charging light sources powered by the sun, what else could they do? What other everyday things could we reimagine being plant-powered?
Beyond light, maybe sensors, environmental monitors integrated into the landscape, tiny energy harvesters for other small devices.
Right. What does a truly plant-powered world look like down the road? Something to think about.